Hey, if you're having sexual performance anxiety that's leading to unreliable erections or erectile dysfunction, today we're going to talk about that silent killer called stress, that silent killer that will kill your erections and your sexual performance. And hey, my name is Brian Ayers, aka Uncle B, and for the last 20 years, I've been the sexual performance coach with African Fly. And during that time, just learned a lot of information about stress and talked to a lot of guys. And what I want to give to you today specifically are some steps. We're first talking about what types of stress can affect you, the results, and also what you can do, some tools that you can use right away. They're free, that you can use daily to relieve that stress and improve your sexual performance. And I do want to say thank you very much. We've hit 1 million views for this channel. 1 million views. That's exciting and sort of scary at the same time, but that's not as important as what has happened in the community, in the comments. We've had guys who've given some information about themselves, who shared their story in terms of what has worked for them. For example, a man, Maurice, out of Caribbean, he talked about his issues with enlarged prostate and how he changed up his diet, went from the eggs and cheese and things like that to more vegetable-based diet, and he no longer has prostate issues for the past 3 years, which is amazing. Keep that up, Maurice. And also my man, Christopher, he was type 2 diabetic, went into a diabetic coma for 2 days and almost died. He's changed up his life in the way that he works out and eats, and he gave some suggestions in the comment section, and he is no longer using insulin. I want to thank you guys. That's really important to share that information. We have a lot of men on this channel from age 25 all the way up to 65, just across the board. That type of inspirational for me, and hopefully other guys will get inspiration out of that as well. So if you have success stories, please share. And as always, if you like what you hear, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, get the notifications. And with that said, let me go ahead and break this down till it cannot be broken anymore. All right, let's talk about those stress factors that affect erectile dysfunction. And when we're talking about stress, we're talking about, well, basically nowadays we have a constant level of stress, whether we're talking about the job or just driving to the job, or our relationships, whether it's our kids, our wife, our girlfriends. There's a constant level of stress, and all this technology with the bloops and the bleeps always informing you of more things to pay attention to just stresses us out a lot more. And it ends up showing up in a lot of different ways. And today we're going to talk about those different subsets of stress. We're talking about anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, indifference, and my favorite, frustration. And so let's go with anxiety first, because that's what happens with a lot of guys, sexual performance anxiety. So, you know, something doesn't work and you're like, oh man, I didn't perform well. It's like, this normally doesn't happen until it happens the second time. And you're like, oh my goodness, what's going on? And you start thinking this could happen again. And then it happens again. And you're thinking this could happen again. And this happens again. And you're now in a downward spiral. So I'm going to give you some tips in a second on how to relieve that anxiety. Also, depression. Depression just affects your brain and your body, and it puts you in a state where you don't want to do anything. You're just there. It's like you don't have any motivation. And to make matters worse, a lot of the antidepressant pills actually further erectile dysfunction. So I couldn't imagine, you know, I have issues and now my dick doesn't work. I couldn't imagine I have issues and now I don't work properly down there. That's not a good combination at all. And when it comes to low self-esteem, some guys are just worried about just too much. You're thinking too much about yourself in a wrong way. So you're worried about, you know, my job is, you know, is my woman really satisfied? You know, am I the right size? Am my body the right way that needs to be? You know, that you're thinking just a little bit too much in the wrong direction. And of course, there's indifference. Indifference is just basically, well, you know, as you get older, it's like, whatever, it's sex. Or you're in a relationship that's not good for you. Or let me not say not good for you. That's not not working well. So you're stressed. So you go to work and you're stressed, and you come back home and you see this woman, you go to work and you're stressed and see this stressed woman. And at some point you get to the point where you're looking at her, it's like, well, I see you now, I'm stressed. And you have to break that pattern. So the best relationships I've seen with couples, they do a lot of traveling. They take vacations, and it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be cruises and things like that. If you can do that, go ahead. But if you just need to send the kids off somewhere, go to a hotel, whether it's a great hotel or a cheap hotel, as long as you're breaking that pattern of being in a rut, you're going to have a better relationship, which is going to lead to better sexual performance. And my favorite one is frustration. That's basically, I like setting up huge goals, and then if it doesn't happen by the time that I want it, I'm upset. I set the goal and I set that time. So it's like, it's really on me to control what I set up in my mind. So let's talk about the results of all these different types of stress. And the thing to remember is that your body is the storage unit for the stress. So you think about stress, and then your body appears in your body. So that's the reason why stress can cause erectile dysfunction. And it's pretty interesting how nature works, because basically as soon as stress shows up, your body is like, okay, it's increased the cortisol. Cortisol actually decreases your immune system. It's like, hey, let's move energy to your limbs so you can run, fight or flight. That's the cortisol stress hormone. So whether or not, it's a mountain lion attacking you or it's your job that's irritating the heck out of you, really what it comes down to is that there is an increase in cortisol. And when there's an increase in cortisol, there's a decrease in testosterone, and the testosterone is what fuels your sex drive. So you have to work at getting rid of stress so it's not affecting your body, because, it affects your body, but also in your mind, you're starting to lose that drive, the things that you're supposed to do in terms of eating and getting sleep and getting your exercise in. You stop doing that, and then you start doing the things you're not supposed to do, like drinking in excess and eating the wrong foods and things like that. All of that leads into a downward spiral. And once again, nature is pretty, on point with what it needs to do, because it recognizes if you're having a mountain lion that's coming around killing people, well, you really don't need to have an erection. You don't need to procreate at that time. You don't need sex drive. So that's the reason why that cortisol kicks in and nothing else works. I mean, you've literally never seen someone in a fight with an erection. And if you did, that's really weird. So let's talk about some solutions. And the first thing to recognize is, once again, that it's all in your brain. And really, it just comes down to, what are you thinking about? What are the questions that you're asking yourself? So, this could be like, well, I'm thinking about something that happened in high school, or something that happened with her last weekend, or the job. If your brain is going into all these negative directions, you can actually take it and move it back to positive directions just by asking questions. So one of the questions I always ask, I actually got this from Tony Robbins, is, what is great? In a bad situation, ask that question, what is great? And your brain will like, well, okay, let me start looking for it. You have to really ask, you can say, well, what is great? And come up with some stupid stuff like, nothing's great. But if you're asking what is great, your body actually is going to react to that. It's going to increase your level of testosterone, decrease your level of cortisol. So it's a great thing. And one of the fastest ways to do that from a physical standpoint is smile therapy. It's what it sounds like. It's smiling. So if you're monitoring your brain for like negative thoughts, it's like, I'm thinking about that thing that happened in ninth grade, whatever that was, and you start smiling, well, you've been smiling since you were a baby, and your body is pre-wired, is pre-programmed to know exactly like, oh, you're smiling? Oh, well, must be great. All right, I'm not as stressed anymore. So smile therapy does work. So yes, use that. It's very simple. You're upset, smile. And your body chemistry will actually change. And really quickly, I just want to walk you through something called intentional meditation. I'll make sure to put some notes in the description below. But intentional meditation, I want you to just follow these steps. First of all, you want to meditate to clear your brain. And even before you start that process, just write down, what is it that you want to be better at? What is your perfection level? It's like, okay, I want to have better sex. I want to work out more, things like that. If you're writing this down, then it gets into your brain. Your brain is like, I see a picture of what is as possible. And so it will go after it. So if you're meditating, you're allowing your body to relax, you're putting this vision in your mind, and you're able to go forward. Your body, your brain will start saying, oh, I don't want to do these negative things. I want to get to this picture that works better. Yes, it does take time. Yes, you do have to work at it. I would suggest doing it first thing in the morning. There's a lot of science behind the why, but go ahead and do that. Get that into your brain and you will start relaxing. Meditation really helps because your brain is basically doing like this all the time. When you meditate, it starts slowing down and things start working better. Yes, I used to be able to pop and lock. And of course, go ahead and do the basics, which is get your exercise in, exercise those demons out, eat the vegetation so that you're getting energy. And also definitely you got to get your 8 hours of sleep. So you're increasing your testosterone while you're sleeping. So to put it all together, basically, in order to get better erections, in order to get over performance anxiety, use the steps as the smile therapy, intentional meditation, but it really comes down to you and your brain. You have to work your brain ahead of time. Get into these practices of meditating as often as possible, monitoring your thoughts and smiling. Here's the question of the day. What do you do to relieve stress? Hey, Dre, I'm not talking about smoking the weed. That doesn't help. We'll talk about that in another situation, but what do you do that helps to relieve stress? Leave that in the comment section below. And as always, if you like what you heard, go ahead and subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. And this is Uncle B saying peace out.